Cluck your ears, my little night hens, because tonight's ghost doesn't screech, doesn't growl, doesn't even whisper. Instead, she waits in the quiet, and if you hear her silence, you'll never forget it. Tonight, the hollow moon reveals its fifth spirit, the Silent Mourner. Her name, long forgotten, once filled the church records of Hollow Moon Valley. She was born Eliza Corbin in 1798, the daughter of a preacher and a midwife. Her life was ordinary: chores, hymns, family dinners. Until the fire. One night, when she was just 19, her family's small home caught flame. Sparks swallowed the wood like tinder. Her parents screamed for her siblings. Eliza ran to the door, but smoke drove her back. She heard the roof collapse, her family's cries cutting off one by one. When the neighbors pulled her from the ash the next morning, Eliza didn't scream, didn't cry. She just stared at the charred ruins, her lips sealed tight. She never spoke another word. Eliza wore black for the rest of her life. She walked the village like a shadow, eyes always wet with tears, but soundless. She never married, never sang, never laughed. Children followed her, mocking, "Mute crow, widow crow." They hurled stones, trying to provoke her voice. But she never reacted. Even at church, when hymns rose around her, Eliza stood still, lips sealed. Her silence was heavy, unnatural, as though she carried more grief than one body could contain. By the time she died at 47, she hadn't spoken in nearly 3 decades. Her grave marker bore no epitaph, just her name and the carving of a weeping willow. After her burial, strange things plagued the churchyard. Worshippers said when they sang, the air would suddenly go dead silent, no echo, no harmony, as though sound itself had been stolen. Mourners swore they heard soft crying at the willow tree, but when they looked, no one was there. And sometimes, just as bells tolled, a black-clad woman appeared at the edge of the yard, her face streaked with tears, her mouth sealed shut. Those who saw her too long began losing their voices. First a cough, then a rasp, until they could not speak at all. Some never recovered. The villagers whispered. Eliza's grief had curdled into something eternal. Her silence was now her curse. In 2021, Sarah and Michael Gray bought a cottage near the old churchyard. They wanted peace, a quiet life after years in the city. Sarah was an artist who painted landscapes. Michael, a podcaster who recorded horror stories from around the world. Ironically, it was sound that mattered most to him, and silence that would destroy them both. At first, it was small. Michael would be recording late at night and the sound would cut out. Not static, not distortion, just blank silence on the tape. Hours of nothing. Sarah noticed too. Birds stopped singing near the cottage. The stream by their window no longer burbled. Even her brush strokes on canvas made no sound, as though the world was muffled. Then came the crying. Late at night, they heard it, soft, wet sobs drifting through the window. Michael rushed outside, thinking a neighbor was in distress, but the yard was empty. Only the old willow tree by the church swayed in the moonlight. One night Sarah woke to see her standing in the corner of the bedroom. A woman in black, face pale, eyes streaming with endless tears. Her lips were fused shut, skin stretched smooth where her mouth should have been. Sarah screamed, but no sound came out. Her voice was gone. The silent mourner drifted closer, tears falling onto the floorboards without a sound. Sarah clutched Michael's arm, but by the time he woke, the corner was empty. The priest's blessing. Michael brought in Father Donnelly, a young priest new to the parish. He sprinkled holy water, praying aloud. But midway through, his voice faltered. The words froze in his throat, his lips moving silently. His eyes went wide as he clutched his neck, choking without sound. He fled, never to return. The sound engineer. Michael invited a sound engineer friend to test his equipment. They recorded hours of conversation, laughter, even arguing to prove sound was intact. But when they played it back, the file was blank, except for one faint noise. A sob. A woman sobbing, distant yet unbearable. The engineer quit the project that night, muttering, "Your house doesn't want sound. It wants silence." The escape attempt. Sarah begged to leave. They packed, loaded their car, and drove. But a mile from the cottage, the engine sputtered. The car died. The woods around them were deathly silent. Not a cricket, not a breeze. Only soft crying in the dark. When they turned back, the cottage lights glowed, waiting. Michael awoke one night to find Sarah painting in the living room. She painted the mourner, black dress, streaming tears, mouth sealed tight. Around her, Michael noticed dozens of canvases, all of them the mourner, dozens of versions, each closer, clearer. Sarah's eyes streamed tears as she painted. She tried to speak, but her lips barely parted. No sound came. Behind her, in the reflection of the window, Michael saw the mourner herself, standing directly behind his wife. When he spun around, nothing. But Sarah collapsed, her lips fusing shut before his eyes. Michael recorded one last podcast, his voice trembling. If you hear her crying, don't look. Don't listen. Don't pity her. Her grief will take your voice, your sound, your life. I'm leaving this as a warning. But when the file uploaded, listeners only heard silence. Hours of silence, punctuated once by a faint sob. Michael vanished soon after. Now the cottage stands empty. Travelers swear they see a woman in black by the willow tree. If you hear her crying, you must not turn. If you do, her silence will be yours. And that's the tale of the silent mourner, the ghost whose grief is so heavy it crushes even sound. So, my little night hens, if the world goes quiet all at once, don't scratch around for answers. Just run before she finds you. But don't fly away yet. The hollow moon has more to hatch. Spirit #6 is waiting, and this one doesn't just silence your voice, it takes your reflection. Next time, we meet the glass watcher,